Hi, welcome to Coturnix Corner. My name's Terry, and in this video I wanted to share with you my routine for collecting and washing and packaging eggs for retail sales. If you've got enough quail and you're producing more eggs than you and your family can consume, you might want to consider offering your eggs to family, friends, neighbors, the general public. Most states have statutes that allow for backyard sales of eggs. So check with your county and just make sure that you're in compliance and that you're not going to get yourself in trouble for selling eggs to the public. Okay, eggs should be collected on a daily basis. And if you're in a warmer climate like I am, you're going to want to collect them 2 or 3 times a day. This is just going to help with keeping the eggs a little bit cleaner, and it's also going to help prevent any cracked eggs or broken eggs. If you've got a caging system that has the sloped floors so the eggs roll forward, those are going to help considerably keeping your eggs clean and unbroken. But if you do have the flat floor caging, or your birds are kept outside on a natural caging system, just collect more often. That'll help keep the eggs cleaner. Ideally, eggs are packed within 24 hours of being laid. But the U.S. Department of Agriculture rules state that eggs must be packed within 30 days of being laid. So think about that the next time you go to the store to buy, a carton of eggs. Those eggs may be 30 days old or more before they ever hit the shelf. Okay, so once you've got your eggs collected, you're going to want to clean the eggs prior to packaging them. There are 2 methods for cleaning eggs. One is the dry method, and the other is the wet method, which is basically washing the eggs. I use the dry method 90% of the times because most of my eggs are sold unrefrigerated, and that's the way that my customers prefer them. But you may have people that want their eggs refrigerated, so you'll have to do the either method of cleaning. But basically for dry cleaning, if you have an egg brush or a paper towel, you just want to go around and clean the egg just to make sure that there's no debris or manure on the egg before you package them. And basically you just take the egg and roll it around and lightly brush it with the brush, or if you're using the paper towel method, you just go around and clean the egg off best you can. Try to remove any dirt and stains and debris, and especially manure. You don't want to ship out or send out eggs that have manure on them. If you get eggs that are heavily soiled, you don't want to package them. I discard all eggs that have a lot of manure buildup on them, like that one there. That's a garbage egg. Usually what we'll do is either throw them out, or we'll try to clean them up and we'll use them for our own consumption. So the dry method, like I said, is basically what I use before selling eggs, and that is mainly because my customers don't refrigerate their eggs. They want to be able to take the eggs home, set them on the counter, and use them as needed. Okay, and for the wet method or the washing method, the USDA requires that you use a 3-basin washing station, with your first basin being your wash water, the second basin being your rinse, and the third basin being your sanitize station. As far as water temperature goes, they have a 90-degree Fahrenheit minimum water temperature for your wash water. They also require that the wash water is 20 degrees warmer than your warmest egg, but not more than 40 degrees warmer than your warmest egg. So say your eggs were at room temperature of 70 degrees, 20 degrees warmer would put you at 90, so you've met the 90-degree minimum, and 40 degrees warmer for the maximum will put you at 110. So as long as your wash water was between 90 degrees and 110 degrees, you'd be fine. As far as your rinse water goes, they recommend that the rinse water is a few degrees warmer than your wash water. And the reason for this is the egg shell is porous, and if you submerge an egg in water that is cooler than the temperature of the egg, it has the potential to draw in wash water and microbes, and potentially contaminating your eggs. Okay, and for the detergent for your wash water, you can use your standard dishwashing detergent, preferably something antibacterial and a mild solution, or you can use a commercially produced egg washing cleanser. I got this at Tractor Supply. It's a 16-ounce bottle for, I think I paid $10 for this, and the main ingredient is citric acid. So either one of those are fine. For your rinse water, you just want to use fresh, clean water that is a few degrees warmer than your wash water. And for your sanitizing station, I use a chlorine-based solution. Basically, just mix a little bit of household bleach with the water. They recommend a between 50 and 200 parts per million solution, and 1 tablespoon of bleach will give you 200 parts per million. They also state that anything less than 100 parts per million can potentially save the bloom on the egg. You could also use a hydrogen peroxide based solution. They recommend between 0.5 and 1% solution of the hydrogen peroxide and water. So this bottle being 1 pint, you could mix 1 bottle of this with 3 pints of water, and that'll give you a solution. I just stick with the bleach. It's a little bit cheaper, a little bit easier, and it does a fine job. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mix up my detergent and my sanitizing solution, and then we'll come back here and I'll briefly go through how I wash the eggs, and then we'll get into drying them and packaging the eggs and getting them ready for sale. Okay, so to wash the eggs, it's basically pretty simple. It's no different than washing dishes. Basically, you just want to take your egg and place it in the wash water, and you can use a brush and scrub the egg down real quick, throw it into the rinse water, and go on to your next one. If your eggs are heavily soiled or discolored, you can take the egg and soak it in that water for just a few minutes. You don't really want to leave them in there too long. You know, do maybe 3 or 4 at a time, just so that way you can get them out of the water a little bit quicker. But basically just clean them up. Like this one here, I've got a little bit of a stain on it. I don't know if you can see it right there, but just a little bit of scrubbing, and that will get rid of that little stain there. So once you've got your eggs cleaned up, you can take them and go from your rinse solution directly into your sanitizing solution. And this is also a good time to note, watch your eggs when they're in the rinse water or in the sanitizing solution. If an egg floats, the egg's no good. It's just absorbs so much air that, you know, it's an older egg, and it's not, you know, fit for consumption really. What you want is an egg that's going to lay flat on the bottom of the container. A lot of times you'll see an egg where it'll go down and the pointed end will point down and the fat end will rise up. That egg is actually a little bit older. An egg that lays flat is a fresh egg. An egg that stands up is, you know, about maybe halfway through its life of being consumable. But basically, if the eggs are laying flat, and I never use an egg that stands up or floats. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish washing up these eggs, and we'll get them over here on the drying rack. We'll get them dried up, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how I package them up and get them ready for retail sales. Okay, I don't know if you can see this, but in the bottom of my rinse water container, I've got quite a bit of debris that had rinsed off the egg. They recommend that you change your wash and your rinse water regularly. So if you notice the water starting to get dirty, or you're seeing particles and whatnot float around in your rinse water, change it out to fresh water. Also, if you notice that your water temperature is starting to cool off, you know, put fresh water in there and bring it back up to temperature. Okay, so once I've got all the eggs washed and sanitized, I will place them on these drying racks to air dry. I'll also put a small fan blowing air across the eggs, just kind of helps to speed up the drying process a little bit. The racks that I'm using for the eggs are just your standard cookie cooling racks like you'd use in baking. They work really good for that. They're inexpensive. You can pick them up at Walmart or Target, and they work really good for what we're using them for. Once everything's dried up, all the eggs are dried, I will package them up in the plastic quail egg cartons. I have two different size cartons. I have a 12 count and a 24 count. I don't usually sell a whole lot of single dozen eggs, but these 12 counts come in handy when you sell an odd amount of dozens. Like if somebody wants 5 dozen eggs, you can give them 2 of the 24s and 1 of the 12s. So that works out pretty good there. I'll also take and place my business card inside the carton, and that way when they start running low on eggs or run out of eggs, they can contact me and place another order. Okay, so I hope this video gave you a little bit of insight into how I collect and wash and sanitize and package up my eggs for retail sales. If you've got any questions or comments, post them in the comments section down below. I try to answer the comments and the questions every day. I want to thank you guys for joining me today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. It helps me out, and you'll get notified of any new and upcoming videos. I want to thank you again, guys, and we will see you on the next one.